Right. Hello and welcome back to Melody Mapping. I am your host, Tara Shetty, and today I am joined by songwriter and actress Ava Delaney. Great.
Hey, thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for joining
Yay.
me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think I'm going to start off by just reading your bio so people can learn a little bit more about you.
Cool.
And we'll go on from there. So Ava Delaney is a singer, songwriter, actress, painter, poet, healer, student of life, and warrior of earth. She is passionate about music and theater as a vehicle for expansion, creating new possibilities in our human story of how we relate to each other and our earth. She graduated from the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama, where she studied musical theater and recently made the move to NYC to pursue her music and Broadway dreams. And her first studio album, called Everything, drops April 24th. So cool. Oh my God. And
Yay.
congratulations about your album. That's
Thank
huge.
you. Yeah, it's really exciting. It was a project that I recorded through 2022. So it's like
Okay.
almost, it feels like it's been in the birth canal for a long time. And I'm just so
Yeah.
excited to just give it to the world for sure.
Amazing. Amazing. I definitely want to talk some more about that later in the interview. But I think I wanted to start off and just get a little bit more of a background on your just creative background, music background, and also I would love to know more about your time at the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama because that's amazing.
For sure. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I grew up doing musical theater. That was like my center. That was my favorite thing in the world, community theater after school or school
Mhm.
productions. Um, doing Pippin and Godspell and Sound of Music and High School Musical and all of these super fun shows. And yeah, just performing in the stage always felt like home for me, like the place I could
Mhm.
express myself so truly and wildly and be so free. Um, and I started, and in high school I was, into classic rock and into different types of music, and I got a ukulele for Christmas one year, and I started kind of playing around,
Great.
like
Yeah.
writing, mostly like learning like Carole King songs and covering those, and then I started writing really loosely, um, but still was like really focused on theater, and uh, I knew that's what I wanted to go to school for, and so senior year I applied for a bunch of schools and I got into Central, which was in London. And so I moved when I was
Amazing.
18 to London, and that was 2018. So I had about a year and a half of like the most magical. I mean, it was so eye opening living in a city by myself for the first time with public transportation. I grew up in California, so I was used
Same
to having
actually,
to.
so I
You did?
totally know.
What
Yeah.
part? What part of California are you from?
NorCal,
Okay,
Bay
you're from
Area.
NorCal. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I grew up, you have to drive everywhere, and which is
Right.
a fun thing in its own right, but yeah, something about the freedom and autonomy of like just walking around a city by myself. I just grew so much, felt like an adult for the first time, and also, London was such an amazing city of seeing the most incredible theater I've ever had access to in my whole life, like very
Yeah.
casually, just magic. And yeah, and my school, like I could go so deep on everything I learned in school, from Shakespeare to growing as a performer. And then 2020, halfway through our second year, COVID hit, so I went back to California and we did Zoom for pretty much a year. Um,
Wow.
and so I was super creatively like reckless. And so I started taking my songwriting a lot more seriously because I was like, I'm inside and I need something to put my
Yeah.
energy into. So I just really started going in, writing songs about my relationships and making covers of Hamilton songs and just like kind of exploring what my creative voice sounded like. And so yeah, that was when the songwriting took a um bigger center in my life. And yeah, now I'm kind of like 2 years post grad and still, foot in both pools. I'm still auditioning for musicals all the time. I'm about to do Spring Awakening. We start rehearsals
Hey,
for that
amazing.
on Monday, and yeah, writing songs, performing live, doing it all. Like very, very
Yeah.
blessed
And
because I love what I do so much. Yeah. Yeah.
right. And are you New York based now, or are you still in
I
LA,
am.
or
I'm in the city. Yeah,
okay.
I moved here in
Okay.
November.
Great. Very
Yeah.
cool. Right. And for people who are maybe not so familiar with your music, can you maybe describe your sound a little bit and any other like artists that inspired your sound?
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, this project specifically, well, my core of my songwriting is very like heart-centered, like storytelling,
Okay.
autobiographical, what I experience. And that can range from like very acoustic me and the uke period to more rock or soul or groove elements sprinkled in. This project specifically, everything
Mhm.
has a lot of pop elements as well. And yeah, I mean it's the hardest question ever because I feel like I have so much. That's why honestly why it's called everything. It's because it's such like it just embodies my full spectrum as much as I can because I feel like yeah, there's just so many voices that I want to share, so they all have their little
Totally.
place in it. Yeah.
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 Great. Right. And I recently spoke with your friend Catherine Birdie, and she also has a lot of creative interests. And I was
Mm,
wondering, what has it kind of been like balancing music and acting? And is one kind of like taking the your all your focus right now, or are you kind of pursuing them equally?
mm. It it ebbs and it flows. It depends.
Okay.
It depends. I'd say the past 2 years it's been mostly music. And then
Okay.
when an opportunity comes online, like I'll do, I'll audition here and there. And when a show lands, like I did this incredible new musical called Dark of the Moon in Ventura
Mm,
last year. This time last year, uh, we did it was like a folky like Appalachian super rootsy show.
okay.
Yeah, like when I'm in a project like that, that's taking my 100% of my focus.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's really a blessing, yeah, to kind of have the ability to navigate and like ebb and flow between the two and other projects as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very cool. And on top of that, I wanted to kind of one of the major topics that I want to look at in this podcast is finances in terms of really like funding artistic projects and that how that can be so difficult sometimes. So I was
Yeah.
wondering if there's any other like revenue streams that you're pursuing, like if you have like a standard like service job or if you're totally like on with the acting right now
For
or
sure. Yeah. Well, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be such a blessing if I was living off of acting? Like I really do wonder like what level you have to be on for that to be fully because I know people do it obviously, but yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
definitely not there yet. And yeah, music is an expensive producing and even doing
right.
a show, like paying your band. Like there's so many costs that we don't or that artists don't talk about or
Mhm,
even gear or recording and like all of this stuff like
exactly.
it's insane. So yeah, like props to everybody who's on that journey and like discovering that because it's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been very very blessed to have a lot of support from my family, and also doing I worked this like bar job where I was hosting an open like a live band karaoke in Los Angeles,
Okay.
like very
Yeah,
very random jobs, babysitting kids. I babysit a lot of children,
totally. Hmm.
um, and then like freelance things like producing shows. Sometimes will you'll get a little cut from it, or it depends. Like yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of random things, but I definitely don't. That's the thing too, is like when you're in my specific case, like I don't have the time in my schedule to have a job that takes a big chunk of my day, like in terms of like service
Right.
or anything, because I could hear the night before that I have a callback and I have to be somewhere and I have to, cancel that. So
Yeah.
that's why like working with families or working, being paid to use my other creative gifts like graphic design or, even recording, like I have been lucky to have some commissioned music work as well, where it's like
Nice.
a
Okay.
corporate thing that they need a song written
Hmm.
and you get paid a good like syncing.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a journey and it's tricky and you just got to put yourself out there and believe in your own gifts and say like, hey, I know how to do this, like put me in, coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Could you maybe talk a little bit more about your experience, like getting your first like paid writing opportunity and like sync, working
Yeah.
with sync?
So I have a number of friends who there are different, I don't know exactly because I'm not with a sync. There are specifically sync like agencies where you'll have
Right.
a connection
Hmm.
to an agent or someone who's really yeah, like connected into like say Netflix or somebody
Yeah.
who's like a direct channel to people. So I don't have that connection, but I do have people who
Okay.
do. And so when they need like a female voice or they need a different writing perspective, I'll be kind of
Hmm.
plugged into those sessions. So it's honestly networking, and that's
Yeah.
like honestly one of my major like pieces of advice for anybody who wants to be a creative in any capacity is like go to open mics, go to shows and talk to people, and you never know what connections like 4 months down the line foster like I have friends that I have met in such random experiences that I've just kept connecting with that
Hmm.
and that see what I'm doing on my own and then will pull me into something that I have no idea. It's really about people and it's who you know, and that's like a huge
Right.
emphasis I want to say. It's like I feel like we want it to be simple where it's like, oh yeah, you go to this website and you type in like sync, like I'm a songwriter, but
Hmm.
ultimately when it's some big boss at the, Netflix, he's going to call his three homies who he's relied on before, and then those
Right.
homies are going to be like, "Oh yeah, I should call Ava cuz her voice would sound great on this song," like it's so interpersonal and it's just about making good
Yeah.
impressions and being really on top of your craft and yeah and like personable and yeah open to new
Totally.
experiences, saying yes to things that you normally wouldn't say yes to. Yeah.
So that was one of my other topics that I definitely wanted to dig into is networking because I
Yeah.
mean for all the reasons you said is so important. So has been like open mics like kind of one of the main ways you've been able to network? Has there been any other ways that you've been successful or maybe some like surprising way you met somebody?
Open mics, huge, 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 huge. I love them so much.
Okay.
Going to shows, going to,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, like a show that honestly, going alone. Like I know it's scary, but going alone and kind of just using your intuition. If there's someone that you're like, you notice or you're sitting next to at the bar and you're in between moments, like just striking up a conversation. People are so much more open than we ever could imagine, and just stepping outside of
Hmm.
your comfort zone, and you never know what a connection could lead to.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, going to a show and seeing, oh, maybe you're at a show and there's like the drummer of this random band is like really awesome, and you're like, oh, I need a drummer, and you start talking to them, or it's kind of
Hmm.
whatever you're needing, whatever you're looking for. If you're working on a specific project and you're like, okay, I'm networking, I really need a producer or someone to mix it, like
Right.
going out with the intention and saying that to people, even if it's someone who isn't that person, maybe they know someone, that's like we keep getting to weave like what we need. Like, yeah, I'm working on this project right now. I need a mixer. Oh, you should definitely meet my buddy. And then you get plugged in that way. But I feel like, yeah, you just have to ask for what you need and say what you're working on and
Totally.
get excited about what they're doing too. But yeah, so many ways to meet people for sure.
Are you more like introverted or extroverted?
Um, I say I balance between the two. I definitely need a lot of
Okay.
me time and
Hmm.
integration and slow time and groundedness,
Totally.
and then also, yeah, just love community so
Right.
much. Yeah.
Nice. And then kind of moving on, do you have a daily or like weekly songwriting practice? And
Mm.
how do you kind of like protect that if you do have that kind of regular practice?
I can't say that I daily, definitely not.
Okay.
That's a whole, I admire anyone who
Some
does.
people do like a
Wow.
song a day. It's hard.
I really admire that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not my flow for sure. I'd say it ebbs and flows. Yeah, I mean, my relationship with discipline is a lot different than a lot of people. I definitely am like, I honor like my cyclical nature where I'm like,
Hmm.
there are some weeks that feel really alive and really exciting and
Yeah.
really driven, and like I'm just at the guitar, at the piano, or with my uke like for hours. And then some days I just need to consume and recharge, or I need to, be out in nature or paint. Like I consider that all part of my practice, is like
Hmm.
the experience of life as well, and the
Right.
nourishment of hanging out with my friends. Like that's all gonna inform my songwriting so deeply as well. And so yeah, I honor all the ways that those weave. And yeah, I'm still definitely navigating like my relationship to structure and like practice and
Hmm.
like demanding like, okay, weekly song, whatever. Cause my inspiration, my channel just doesn't like flow like that. So I'm still,
That's so fair. Yeah,
yeah,
I feel that as well. I'm
yeah,
not the kind of person that can constantly be on creatively in the same
yeah.
way all the time. So,
Mm.
totally feel that. Also, I was wondering what your relationship is with like writer's block or burnout. Do you find that you're able to kind of move through it like you were saying with these like other creative practices, or do you find you get really stuck sometimes or
Well, writer's block is interesting. Like it's an interesting
Mhm.
concept to me because yeah, I experience a month at a time where I don't write a single new thing. I think just like softening around that, and I feel like the wall doesn't need to be penetrated through sooner than it wants to be, and that the words and the songs will come through when they're ready. And
Mhm.
it's such a spiritual experience for me because I feel like, yeah, like each of these songs is an energy or is a story or something that you can't quite force to exist. It's like something that will find its way to you when you're ready and you're open for it. So yeah, like a lot of my practice is just being open and being in a listening space. That's what I would say to anyone experiencing writer's block, is like listen to the world around you, listen to your heart, listen to your body, listen to your feelings, and there's gold in there that wants to be revealed, rather than like being like I need to write something. um
Yeah.
yeah, like being in the receiving role.
Yeah, totally. And now maybe we could dig a little bit more into talking about your album. What was
Yeah.
that like process like? And were you like working with a lot of friends or were you reaching out to new people on that album?
So this album is a collection of songs written over a long period of time. I'd say like a 2-year period,
Hmm.
um, that was funneled into a few month period with one producer. So this was a producer that I was so blessed to work with and connected to by by a manager that I was working with at the time, and she connected us.
Great.
And his just like his masterful piano playing and like the way he was at the keys just like creating this world was really what inspired me to work with him.
Hmm.
And so he brought, yeah, like all of this element of, oh, I just can't wait for everyone to hear it. It's definitely a journey through, yeah, my inner world. And it's a journey from this space of feeling lost, feeling disconnected from myself, feeling uh numb and closed and without a voice, and doing a certain type of inner investigation through song to let myself feel and roar. And there were these like voices that came out, which are just like these songs. Like my single, so I do have some of the songs of the album that are already out as singles that people can listen
Great.
to. And one of them is called Big, and it's just this song that came through that's like, women are so conditioned to like feeling like they need to be small, whether that's energetically or physically. Keep
Hmm.
your voice down, or don't share, like don't express, you're too much. We hear this all the time. And I noticed how that was impacting my body, my spirit. And so this song is like a rebellion and retaliation from that. Like I want to be big. I want to be everything I am and express my full heart and soul. And so yeah, there's a lot of different little like inner investigations through the album that it feels very, yeah, autobiographical of my process. And and then your healthy dose of breakup song of
Thing. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
real human
Mhm.
love and loss and joy and some bop dance floor moments as well. Like
Gotta have
we
it.
have
Gotta
a
have
whole
it.
spectrum. um
Yeah.
and yeah, and I just feel that as it's going to be released, it's, a clearing and a release in a big way to let
Hmm.
whatever wants to come in new for my songwriting too. Because it feels like, yeah, this interesting experience. And I don't know, have you released music? Are you a musician too?
I've released yeah, I've released a few songs, but no
Nice.
major projects at the moment. So
Okay. Yeah, like I don't know if you feel the same way, but it's like if you hold on to it and don't release it, it feels like almost constipation in a way, where it's like I
yeah,
need to like get this, like move this through and let
right.
the new energy to come in. So anyways, all that to say, I'm really really excited to for the world to, yeah, experience everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
Did you do like any music videos or anything for this album
I have
or
2 music videos that are out.
okay. Okay,
And yeah, we'll
great.
probably make another one. I That's
Hmm.
a good thing for reminding me.
What's been your like experience working with people on visuals like that? Are you working with friends mostly, or how does
Yeah,
that kind of
my
come
best
together?
friend in the whole world is an amazing filmographer. Her name is Emma Hoyt, and she's a director.
Nice.
And
Okay.
so, yeah, for my song "Don't Know How," we back in California, we, yeah, brought a team together of like 5 of us, and we had a
Hmm.
beautiful day in the mountains where we created, a little storybook magic of that. And then my other video for my song "It's a Lie"
Okay.
was directed and edited by my friend Ariana Victor. She's another incredible
Mm.
filmmaker. And that one was a little bit different. It's less of like a story that we filmed as in like a short film, and it's more her she stitched together. So the song itself is a very like retaliation to modern culture, I would say. And it's the song is about, yeah, like how we've forgotten where we came from in a way
Hmm.
in our modern culture. And so yeah, she did an incredible job with the visuals, just mapping out like all of the crap that is happening that is not, yeah, that is not healthy for our human body and our land and our world.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's a really cool video and they're both on my YouTube channel.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Great. And then kind of maybe in a slightly similar vein, but what are your feelings on social media and like self-promotion? Is it something that you're like you find another place to create, or does it feel like it's kind of draining sometimes? How does that work for you?
It's a journey. It's a journey for sure. I mean, as with anything, like being an artist, it's vulnerable and you're putting yourself out there and social media is no exception to meeting that wall of vulnerability. Like how authentic can I be? Do I have to perform? And all of these different
Right.
mind games. My relationship to it right now is super like I just want to post what is fun and what feels good for me.
Hmm.
I had a chapter in the realm of like the TikTok, like I'm going to post 3 times a day
Yeah, I
and,
was gonna ask.
and, you know,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
lip sync and say the thing that we're supposed to say.
Mhm.
But honestly, for me, that doesn't feel authentic and it doesn't feel like my audience or the people who I want to connect to would resonate with that kind of content because I don't resonate with that kind of content. Like when I
Yeah.
watch artists doing that, I feel and I empathize with the desperation too because I feel the desperate like need for like I want people to listen to my music so bad, and of course we're just gonna
Yeah.
do whatever we can to prove that we that we're worth listening to because we are. But I think the best thing that we can do and the best thing that you can do to like really connect to your authentic artist, um, your authentic fan base is just to be so true to yourself and to share your tender soul like and share your creativity because that's ultimately what you're doing in your art, so you might as well show up that way everywhere and that'll attract the right people to you. I believe that 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And also kind of, I mean, coming back to just I don't know, keeping track of all the big like creative projects you have going on. How are some of the ways that you stay calm, stay organized,
Mm.
kind of recenter and also just make time for yourself to just chill amidst everything?
Yeah, I think it's honestly more about the in between moments throughout the day than it is about having big chunks of self care time.
Hmm.
Um, like just with your morning coffee, taking a few deep breaths and bringing your awareness to your heart and to your breath. Like it doesn't have to be like setting my timer to do a 20-minute meditation. It's just like
Yeah.
all throughout the day, there are so many opportunities, whether I'm like waiting for the elevator to just feel my feet on the ground and take a deep breath and find calm in those little moments, I find is so much more impactful than and then obviously like when you do have like a couple days off, like I am gonna be in the park the whole day. If it's sunny, like I will be
Yeah.
laying down like composting into the soil of the park and nobody talk human to me. Like I am. And I think that's really important too. Like nature is
Yeah.
huge for me. Being in the ocean, huge. You know, taking a bath with my salt water and just like, yeah, I think connecting to the elements is a huge way I recharge. There's so many ways, but for anybody who's really busy, it's like you don't need to wait for a big chunk of time to feel that way. You can call it in the little moments.
Amazing. And then I was wondering if there's any like maybe musicians or actresses whose like career arcs you admire and
Mm,
you're kind of maybe visualizing something like that for yourself.
yeah,
Anybody come to mind?
totally. Well, Sarah Bareilles has always been one of my favorite artists,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, just the way that she straddles the musical theater and the music in the way that I
Yeah.
want to too, and writes for musicals and stars in, you know, Into the Woods and her own musical waitress. Like that
Hmm.
is hugely inspiring to me. And then also is touring her original stuff and writing
Right.
albums. She's definitely like North Star of balancing both. But yeah, I mean, there's this woman named Joanna Warren. She's a folk artist, and she's
Okay.
um, done this project where she tours with, I forget what it's called. I think it was called the Plant Medicine Tour, where
Okay.
while she was touring her songs, she had these like herbalists and farmers and local, like wherever the city she was locally touring in, she had the local people working on that land come and share about the projects that they were doing on the land,
Wow.
which
Okay.
I think is so cool and is so inspiring because a big part of my work, like as you mentioned before, is, and we're weaving it through the whole thing, but is yeah, just reconnection to Earth
Hmm.
and to where we came from. So yeah, she's inspiring me huge in that way. I could name so many more people, but I'll just keep it to those two women right now and their
Uh-huh.
work. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
oh wait, no, I will share one more. I have to
Okay.
share
Okay.
and it's funny because she is so in a different she's my poetry teacher, and
Mm.
she does this amazing, her name is Chelsea Diane, Poems and Peonies on Instagram, and she travels the world and teaches about these inspiring women. She basically like goes to where these women are from. So she went to Mexico for Frida Kahlo. She went to she's in Japan right now teaching Yoko Ono. Like she travels the world, and then on
Wow.
Zoom will teach the wisdom and poetry and magic of these different artists. And I think that she inspires me because she's so free and herself in her expression. Like her career is completely on her own terms and with
Hmm.
her own spirit and her own soul. So yeah, she inspires me in that aspect for sure.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
so, does she do just like online workshops then? Is
Yeah.
that
So
those
it's a
kind of
it's a
okay?
monthly Zoom. Yeah. With the
Okay.
different women. Yeah.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then also, I mean, kind of coming back to just like organization and stuff, but more the planning stage. I was wondering, do you find you ever get stuck in the planning stage with like music or a next career move, or do you kind of move through it pretty smoothly, or how does that work for you?
I I think it ebbs and it flows as well. Like sometimes
Okay.
when I don't have anything necessarily on the horizon or that I can specifically put my creative energy into, it's a lot of, yeah, just like scrolling through backstage and auditioning, or like I think that there's moments for planning, and then there's moments that are just action, and it's really nuanced, and you have to just listen to when it's time to just take action and not plan, or just step out of your comfort zone and perform the open mic, or write or make the YouTube video, or whatever the like there's like a blossom thing that needs to happen, like taking action on that and not just getting stuck in the like, oh, well, I need to complete this whole to-do list before I actually do something, you know? I feel
Right.
like it's a balance. And then, and then the bigger projects where it's like, okay, I know I'm doing this huge show where I need to collect a lot of different people on this team. Um, yeah, being really on it and really organized, really clear about finances, clear about scheduling, rehearsals. Yeah, it always, I feel like, depends on whether you're on your own clock or working with a community and a team. And yeah, there's chapters for everything. There's chapters for the planning and the dedication, and there's chapters just to run towards it and just sing it to the rooftops, and they will
Yeah.
both come, and they will both come again, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I think we're kind of like winding down to the end here. But I wanted to ask maybe before we wrap up, we talked about your album. Is there any other like projects or shows you're doing that you maybe want to share or promote on here?
Oh yeah, you'll have to stay tuned on my Instagram. That's where kind of the hub of where I post uh
Right.
updates and stuff. Yeah, but
Yeah.
they come quite, every couple weeks I'll have a show with my band out here in New York
Wonderful.
City. Um and hoping to do a lot more theater and yeah, sometimes hosting Zoom events as well. Like I do I've done a few songwriting circles on Zoom as well.
Nice.
Or
Okay.
just sharing circle spaces. So
Yeah.
yeah, super open and like always loving to connect and yeah, have everybody involved with what's going on.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll have all your music and stuff linked and your Instagram link for people who want to check it out. So,
Yay.
yeah. Um, anyways, I think we're kind of wrapping up here, but I have really enjoyed this discussion.
Me
Thank you so much for
too.
joining me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.